Hey guys, today I wanna talk about Rogue specific, a little bit more deep than before in my short videos. So let us say today in-depth Rogue guide, what you have to do to be a good DPS player for your raid in Rough Classic. I play Rogue on Crobolus. Now we are in the second week of raiding. So I guess most player already saw Naxxramas from inside, 10 man or 25 man. That's not a big difference at the end. Yeah, you get better loot at the 25 man raids. They are a little bit more hard, but really it's just a nuance that we talk here about. So at the end of the day, it's about raiding. It's about being a good melee DPS and try to play for good logs and Warcraft logs. You can make a lot of 95 plus if you follow the things that I want to show you today. Now you see here my character. I will not show you right now any gameplay or something like this, so today is a little bit more theoretical. Just have it open in the background, just online making things. We go here to my guide and let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, I want to talk a little bit more in general about Rogue. It's a strong class at the moment, especially the Assassination Rogue, the Asa Rogue spec. Combat is also very viable. It's also strong. You can play it if you like combat, and if you maybe already have like 2 Asa Rogues in the raid that maybe go for the daggers, you can play maybe combat and go for the swords or something like this. That's no problem. For sure, you should not play Subtlety Rogue, because that's the PvP spec, and you make literally no damage. I wanted to show you here first, also here this chart about the DPS of the classes after the first raid week, the first complete raid week. You see here Warlocks on top, DKs on top, and also the Asa Rogue that I'm talking about. So top classes, like I said, Warlock, DK, Rogue, and just a little step behind is already the first Shaman spec with Enhance. Then is coming the next Warlock spec and the next Rogue spec. Like I said, Combat Road, very viable, and after this, Hunter. So as you can see, every class has his viable spec. Shadow Priest Shadow Priest and Warrior have maybe also Paladin. They are not so strong, but first of all, they bring nice things to the raid, so you want them in your raid, and the raids are kind of easy, and yeah, so there's no, if you want to play Warrior, you can play Warrior. Maybe you should go for Fury instead of Arms, or especially not this off-tank Warrior thing, but okay. Every class has its viable stack, but the top classes are definitely Warlock, DK, Rogue. Warlock has 2 specs in the top range, DK has 2 specs in the top range, Rogue has 1, but just a quick step behind is Combat Rogue. So that brings us to the first talk. Why Rogue? It's just strong at the moment. Also Rogue is usually always a little bit fun to play. You have the stealth mechanic, what is maybe not that nice in raid because you don't benefit from it. But outside in the open world, you have the stealth mechanics. What is also nice, what you bring to the raid is Trick Straight spell. What is very nice for putting more aggro on the tank, or later on buffing another very strong DPS player. Besides that, melee DPS, if this is your playstyle, then go for it. I mean, there's usually people that love melee and people they love range. So if you want to play melee DPS, I think you can make a very, very good decision between DK and Rogue at the moment. Later on in the phases, things changing a little bit, but there will be always a Rogue spec in S tier or minimum A tier through all Wrath of the Lich King Classic. So go for it if you want to play it. I guess when you watch this guide, you play Rogue, so you already decided for it. So I want to go a little bit more deep into it, into everything here. Next topic would be talents and glyphs. Like I said, you play, if you want to be top DPS in your raid, or one of the top DPS in your raid, you play Assassination Rogue at the moment, Asa Rogue. That's pretty common. So we could click here to open it. Okay, that's not how I wanted to open it, to be honest. Let us make it again big. And then can I open like this? Open in a new tab. That's the normal raid spec that you see here. 51, 13, 7. 7 here in sub for the Relentless Strikes, and 2 in Opportunity. They just give you more damage, increase the damage deal with your backstab, Mutilate, that's what you're talking here about, Mutilate. And also here, finishing moves have a 20% chance per combo point to restore 25 energy. Energy is your resource, so go for it. And 13 points here, it's especially because offhand 50% more damage, that's a lot. 5% more hit, very important topic, we coming to it in a few minutes. And yeah, increase your chance to get a critical strike with daggers and fist weapons by 3%. You play usually daggers, so these 3% are just nice to have with three combo points. But you don't go for 5 because these 2 points would be missing somewhere else. So we go only here for 3. Here in this tree, in the Asa tree, that you go completely down, you take the normal things that just increase your damage. I think there is like no talent here that is not really increasing your damage besides this one that is increase your movement speed, what is usually also more damage because you can stick better to your targets. And besides that, a lot of damage spells with the poisons, crit, whatever. Your very nice buff, Hunger for Blood, that also has a very nice synergy with the Glyphs. I want to come to the Glyphs right now, because you can just copy this skill tree if you want. That's the raid skill tree, but in my opinion, you can also take this skill tree for the dungeons, because heroics are so easy that in my opinion, it's not necessary that you go for the AoE spec that Rogue has. You can go for it, but it's not necessary, so we just go here for just take the normal spec. Besides, you say, hey, anyways, I have dual spec, anyways, I only play PvE, I don't want to go for a sub spec, then just take the AoE spec as second spec and maybe try it out in some scenarios, some dungeons. Major glyphs, without any doubt, Glyph of Hunger for Blood for 3% more bonus damage from Hunger for Blood. Hunger for Blood gives you 5% more damage with a bleeding effect. That's why we love to have Feral or other warriors in the raid that bring a bleeding on the boss. That's keeping our rotation in a better shape if we don't have to apply the bleeding by ourselves. Glyph of Mutilate, reduce the cost of Mutilate by 5 energy. That means more Mutilates, that means more damage, that means more Envenoms, that means more damage. Third Glyph, there's 2 options. You are a little bit selfish and you go for Glyph of Fan of Knives. That helps you in dungeons, that helps you in some raid scenarios, or you go for the Tricks and Trade. Yeah, the Tricks one is definitely better if you wanna Tricks of the Trade. If you wanna buff a party member, I think the duration is 2 seconds more with the Glyph of the Tricks of the Trade. But in that case, I want to show you the selfish version that you only care for your own damage, and then Glyph of Fan of Knives is definitely giving you more damage. Not against many raid bosses, because you know most of the raid bosses right now are single target, but there are some raid bosses that are not single target, so that Glyph can also help here. But especially in trash, clearing trash, or in dungeons that Glyph helps you a lot. Mina Glyphs, to be honest, not really interesting. Just go for these 3 standard ones. If you go sometimes for lockpicking, for pickpocket, you can go for the pickpocket thing, but usually these are the 3 glyphs that you are going for. So that's the standard build for raiding. Like I said, there is no need in my opinion to go for an AoE spec here, but there is an AoE spec that you can go for in dungeons. It's like half. It's everything for getting more fan of knives out. That's also why you go for sure for Glyph, a fan of knives. You go for the Vigor to have more energy. You also have here the more energy. So at the end, like I said, this, and I want to keep this short, is you will be an awesome AoE DPS with this spec. It's all about AoE DPS. Will you need it for specific situations? In my opinion, no. Do you want always to be top DPS in the charts, so you maybe want to switch around for AoE and single target situations, also in dungeons? Then go for it. It's a very good second spec that also brings some changes later on that we're talking about, but these are the two specific specs that we have right now to top the charts. Stat Prio, I think that's maybe the most important topic, or what means most important topic? Yeah, first of all, you need the gear to fulfill these things as good as possible, but it's also very important to give you the DPS that you need. And it's all about hit, first of all. You need to get that hit rating, in that case 17% for poison hit cap. You don't need to reach 17% by your own, because you get 5% from the talents, the precision, and you get 3% from Balance Druid, Fury Fire, or I think also Feral can do this, or I'm not sure about it. Sorry, I don't know the other classes so well. Or Shadow Priest, and usually you have minimum one of them in your raid. So you should go for 9% hit minimum to reach that. Let me quick see where is the stat priority. Here's stat priority. I will also link this website later on from wowhead, because it's just very nice and nice builded. I mean, yeah, for sure, agility is your main stat. You go for this, but besides that, you go for. You see here the 8% that you need for don't miss any abilities, but the important spec, because not all your damage, but most of your damage is about the poison. So the poison hit cap is for you the most important hit cap. And like I said, you see here, improve Fury Fire, Misery. If you're playing Alliance, you can even have a trainer in your raid. Well, I'm pretty sure you will have one trainer in your raid that gives you heroic presence. So, but at the end of the day, 17% in a raid environment you need. But don't get me wrong, having more hit is not bad, because you see there is another hit cap for auto attacks, and you will miss a lot of auto attacks. Every auto attack that you can miss could be also crit, could give you more energy, and so on and so on. So having more hit is not that bad. It's a soft cap, not a hard cap. So most important stat, hit. You need to reach that minimum 5% from your hit, from your precision, and 3% from your, it's 8, so you need to reach 9% for being hit capped in the raid, in a raid environment. That's the absolute minimum that you need to have, in my opinion, to make really, really good damage. That more is even better. But that leads us to the next set, because the next set has a hard cap, and that's expertise. After you are stacked with hit, you try to go for expertise, so you will mix it up. Hit, Prio 1, Prio 1, Prio 1. I cannot say this enough. And then expertise. So that also means that maybe gems, sockets that you were going for hit, if you reach the hit cap, you can change it for expertise. Expertise is the next more important stat for rogues. Yeah, you can have some things here, mace specialization, sword specialization, but that doesn't matter, because first of all you play dagger, and in my case I play undead, so that's what it is here, and that's it. And we don't have weapon expertise skilled. With no buffs you need 214 expertise. That's a lot. It's not easy to get, but like I said, Prio 1 is hit after this expertise, so go for as much expertise as you can after you reach the hit cap without losing your hit cap. After this, all the other stats giving you more damage, but none of them is important like hit, and also not important like expertise. Haste, more attacks can be more crits can be more energy. Crit strike Critical strike rating can give you more crits, gives you more energy, gives you more damage. Armor pen, the bosses has a lot of armor. As an Asa Rogue, you are not so much affected by it because your poison is bypassing the armor of the enemies, the armor of the bosses. That's also the reason why Asa Rogue is so strong at the moment. And for sure, attack power. Attack power is more damage is more damage. That's good. So that's about the stat priors. Long story short, again, it's all about hit. 17 is the minimum in a raid environment. Having more is not bad. I have the experience that even more hit is even better, especially because expertise cap is not that easy to reach, like I said, and only full points of expertise giving you the next point. Read the website that I showed you. I will link it for sure in the video description so you can have more insights. I want to keep this video, I don't want to make a 1 hour video. I want to keep it less than 30 minutes, and we're already on 15 minutes, so read the things that you want to know more clear, or ask me in the comments, that's no problem. We're coming to the gear, pre-bis and phase 1 gear, so pre-raid bis and the gear that you can get in all the raids. In phase 1, pre-bis is without raids. Let us just open one of these. Let's go for pre-bis. And in a very short way, you can get usually all these items by emblems. You see that here, there are, in my opinion, 2 very good ones. This one's here, the trinket is awesome. Go for it, you need it. And the belt is very strong, and that's definitely also okay. And for sure, you can go for these 2 set pieces. But the set pieces are easy to get, usually in my opinion, especially because they are only the lower ones and not the one from the 25-man raid. Besides that, it's important here to know the list is giving you a little bit more insight about the items that you will need. But the really best one here is not necessarily the best one, because the best one is dependent on if you fulfill the stat priors that I gave you. And yeah, for sure, also the set bonus. Set bonus is not like, wow, super strong, but it's definitely a strong set bonus, so you should go for the set bonus in the moment that you can go for the 4 set piece. The other 2 set piece doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter if you have if you wear 1 or 2, 3, it's a 4 set piece. But a 4 set piece is good because it lowers your cost of mutilate. So more important is, I link you these lists here, but the more important thing is that you use your brain. What do you need? You need the hit cap. After hit cap, you need expertise. And this is how you go through this list. So here's not a lot of things to talk about. What is important here, very, very important, for sure, you are melee, you need the weapons. What weapons can you have? That's here important to know. This weapon, the Librarian's Paper Cutter, is the most important thing for you at the start, because you can buy that very cheap from the auction house. It's dropping in Halls of Lightning. The other pre-bis dagger you get in Hall of Stones at the end boss, Heroic. This one can just drop random in Hall of Lightnings on the trash. And you see that even in, we are not now in pre-bis, we are now in bis. Even here it has some combinations where this is the best, one of the best weapons that you can get. So just go into auction house and buy it by yourself. It usually should not cost more than 50 gold on your server. Besides that, web dev, and I mean, you have to raid here for getting this thing, so raid and have a little bit of loot, drop luck, and you will get one of those, Anubrekan or Kel'Thuzad, or you have the middle steps, like from the 10-man raid, the Murderer, or the whatever. So you will get definitely here some stuff to make that happen. But yeah, weapons are very important. So that's about the gear, because what should I tell you about the gear? Like I said, the stat prio is the most important thing. After this, definitely with the weapons for sure, that you have here the right weapons. Slower one in the offhand, fast one in the main hand for raiding especially. And then all about is about stat prio. Maybe what we can have here super quick talked about is, that's again the pre-bis. Like I said, some of them you can buy with emblems. And what I also think is important to know, with reputation. With reputation, you can get some very nice items that are good. Here, it's a chest exalted with the Knights of the Ebon Blade. I would not really recommend it because the other ones are also easy to get. Like here you see it's just a blue drop, but possible with getting exalted with one of the factions. This is a very nice Praisers, also exalted with the Wyrmrest Accord. I have a reputation guide for rogues. You can also see it there. And there is one, I think one more that is possible. Exalted with the Argent Crusade here, the boots. Also very strong boots. Best here for Prebis. Yeah, later on you get better ones, but just for Prebis they are super nice. So let's come to the next thing. It's the rotation. And that's also the good thing about Rogue. The rotation is pretty easy. You just are not allowed to mess it up. That's the important thing. And you have to stick, especially when you have to make movements during a boss fight. And there are some boss fights where you have to move. There are some boss fights where you have to swap the target. Here it's important that you don't lose your combo points, that you maybe waste the combo points first and then swap to the other target, just to clarify that. If you have a bleeding effect in the raid, what is very important usually for you to have the perfect setup for you and for your rotation, then it's super easy. One mutilate, one slice and dice to have the slice and dice up, and then Hunger for Blood, and then only always 1 or 2 mutilates and Venom. Only do Envenom if you have 4 or more combo points. If you have 4 combo points, then don't go for another Mutilate because you will waste combo points. But so super easy. After you have Slice and Dice and Hunger for Blood up, only 1 or 2 Mutilates and Venom. The only other thing that you have to think about is using the your Engineering, Cloves, using Separate Charges, using Serenite Bombs, stuff like this. So, but this is your very easy peasy rotation. Hunger for Blood, 1 minute. So is the boss fight going more than 1 minute? Just refresh it in a very good moment. If you need to apply the bleeding effect by yourself, you need to have 1 Rupture. So usually you go for Mutilate, Slice and Dice, and then hopefully you have 1 combo point. Then you use this 1 combo point for Rupture, directly getting Hunger for Blood up, and then again mutilates, and Venom. Mutilates, mutilate, and Venom. If the Hunger for Blood is running out, you need again 1 Rupture, bleeding, then Hunger for Blood on the boss, and same rotation. So rotation is pretty fast. It's just important that you, because it is so easy, it's important that you get it very automatic in your mind, that you can have a perfect usage of your combo points, that you don't waste them, like I said, that you don't make too much of them, or too less, that you press too early in Venom, and that you use your Haste Cloves when you have Engineering, very good, your Serenade Bombs, your Separate Charges. So it's more about the small things than to make more damage than maybe all the other competition is doing. But at the end, very easy rotation. That's the good thing about Rogue also. Sorry. Okay, let us go to the poison topic. I get this asked very frequently. What about the poisons? Because I think many people think instant poison on the main hand. Main hand is the slow weapon because it's stronger, and offhand is the fast weapon. But that's not how it is anymore. I'm not sure why this is different, but it is different. It's exactly the opposite. You put the fast weapon into the main hand with deadly poison, and the slow weapon on the offhand with instant poison. So there's only one combination of weapons where you do it different, and that's when you have the Librarian's Paper Cutter that has a 1.3 speed, and you have the Best Dagger from Kel'Thuzad. I forgot the name, sorry about that, with 1.8 or 1.9 point speed. Then you put it in the main hand and the fast one in the offhand. All other combinations, fast weapon offhand, slow weapon main hand, and the poisons also. Main hand, deadly, instant poison, offhand. For dungeons, especially if you go for the AoE build, it's different for dungeons. With the AoE build, you go for instant poison, and also you can put your strong weapon in the main hand with instant poison, and the slower weapon, the faster weapon in your offhand with deadly poison. But to be honest, I don't recommend it. I recommend you just play it like in the raid, especially if you maybe need to get perfect with your rotation, all this stuff. So don't change too much. And also, I have to say, heroics are super easy, so it's not necessary that you go for this little DPS increase. It's just not necessary. And there's a very nice poison macro. I also have a poison macro, like a 3-minute video about a poison macro that helps you to bring the poison on the weapons in a very nice way, just with one button, which poison whatever you want. So we can go for this. Last but not least, professions. Yeah, important topic, because you can only make max DPS if you have 2 of these professions. You definitely need engineer, and you have the possibility to choose between jewel crafting and tailoring. I think jewel crafting is maybe the better recommendation, but some people think the boss fight will be more fast than people expect, especially later on in the phase. And then tailoring could be better, because tailoring gives you more burst with the cloak enchants that give you like 400 attack power for 20 seconds, if I'm not wrong. Jewel crafting for sure, very nice games. And engineering, I guess I don't need to explain it. Enchant for clothes, enchant for boots that can speed you up, and also the Serenite and the Goblin Sabotages. So just overall a lot of damage. Take fishing or cooking as professions for a little bit of side hustle. I guess that's the important case here. Yeah. To be honest, that are the important things about Rogue in my opinion. I will now make boss videos next week when I go next week into the raid. I will record the videos and I will make for every boss a super quick explanation. I hope that I get it done. I get recorded all the boss fights in a good way, and then I can have a little bit of commentary on it. Just one more step after it. I forgot it maybe to talk about it. In dungeons, you have the same rotation like in raids, especially on boss fights. But if you have 3 or more targets, always go for Fan of Knives. The only thing that you can think about is attacking, 1 mutilate, 1 slice and dice, and then Fan of Knives. And only when the slice and dice is running out, maybe 1 mutilate and then 1 envenom to keep the slice and dice up. But it's not really necessary, to be honest. I would just go for maximum 1 mutilate, 1 slice and dice, and then only Fan of Knives. And then for sure interrupts, blinds, stuns if it's necessary to interrupt some casts. But like I said, heroics are pretty easy, so I don't want to give you like the feeling like, why I have to think about 10 different things when I go into a heroic dungeon. Heroic dungeon are for equipping your character, for having fun, for getting loot, for getting the emblems to also get loot. So they are just a loot treasure, to be honest. Not a lot of things about it. Today the guide was only about PvE. Maybe I will make the same for PvP in a few. But right now I'm a little bit more invested into PvE because the raid was super fun. I had some good results and I want to keep the things up, going for more 99 logs or maybe even 100 if I can do it. We will see. Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Enjoy it. Have fun. Play Rogue. See you. Bye-bye.